Hello and welcome to an ASTD Philadelphia podcast. My name is Josh Mayleaf. I am the Vice President of Programming, and today I'm going to be speaking with John Juzbasich, who is going to be our speaker for our March event. John is currently completing his Doctorate of Adult Education in Leadership at Penn State, and his topic for our upcoming event will be, This is Your Brain on Training, How to Boost Learning Retention Using the Latest Discoveries in Neuroscience. Thanks for joining us, John.
Thank you very much, Josh.
So let me jump right in and ask you, how did you come to this topic to present to us at this next meeting?
Actually, I've given this similar talk. I've been requested by clients, training departments of other firms, to train the trainers, in effect, on some of the latest techniques and to improve learning retention. And I put this together as a class, and I've given this talk before. And it was part of my research for my doctorate that I came across articles on it. And I've always been interested in the physical aspects of learning because we know something goes on in the brain, but we didn't know exactly what. And so it was through this research that I came across some neuroscientific research by Zoll, and he was able, through advanced MRI equipment and technology, actually record physically what happens in the brain in the learning process. And so that was what fascinated me originally with the topic, and sort of like a side area of study for me that I just enjoy.
Sounds very interesting. So I also understand that you're currently an instructor as well.
Yes, at Penn State in their MBA program and Master of Leadership Development program at their Malvern campus. We call it Great Valley here on Route 202.
So with that, how have you been able to take this information and research that you've been working on in your program and put it into practice in the field?
Great question, Josh. The research, basically, my goal is to improve training retention. And be it in a class at Penn State or through corporate training, I think all of us as instructors and trainers have that. Is how can we help our students learn more and retain more for long-term memory? That being said, then we can then look at this research, and that's what the subject of the talk will be, the 4 steps that we actually do physically go through in our brain, and then build our training incorporating those steps. And understand that unless you complete all 4 steps, the learning doesn't occur. And so what I do in my training at Penn State or corporate is to say, okay, when I design a class, put a curriculum together, are we following these 4 processes? Are we, with our exercises and discussions, taking these steps appropriately? Are we giving enough of time for the steps to happen in our brain so that learning can occur? And in effect, your knowledge gets transferred into long-term memory sections of our brain. And I think it's real important for instructional designers, especially any type of training design, is to understand these steps and build them into course design. And I don't care if it's a 1-hour talk or if it's a 5-day instructor-led training event, or as far as that goes, a web training event. All 4 steps have to be built into one's training methodology. And
as you've used these in practice, have you seen a difference from before you had started working with them?
Well, a couple of things happen, one of which the students themselves, the participants in the workshops or the classes, enjoy them more. All right, and so you have the reaction or smile sheets that we get at the end of these and fill them out. You can see marked improvement in that because it's no longer death by PowerPoint, and so that they truly appreciate. It also helps them work through difficult understandings. Maybe certain concepts or topics some people can learn quicker than others. So this can help everyone sort of move along nicely. With example, and that's part of the process is helping, let's say, is to relate to existent knowledge is one of the key steps. And so we can help them through that with examples and various ones and images that can then help them adopt the new learning or knowledge more quickly. So it does show up that way, very much so.
And it sounds like overall these 4 steps can be applied throughout all kinds of different types of training as well.
Absolutely. From, as you know, some corporations have annual required compliance training, and we've all been there where you sit there and just hit the button on the screen and have no interest at all. Here you can make that interesting and fun. You can also, for any instructor-led workshop, incorporate the same model, if you will, into it. Also complementing it is the Gagne's 9 steps as part of how you can reinforce these. So I sort of take them both together. You still can follow Bloom's taxonomy, for example. Those will still remain. It doesn't throw out our key learning from before, but at the same, it enhances it and tells us what steps we need to go through. And the theory actually was developed by Kolb, K-O-L-B, who had been a professor at Harvard, and he had a educational theory of these steps. And really, the MRI work that cognitive neuroscience has done reinforces Kolb's theory. So it's actually very complementary to existent knowledge.
Well, it definitely sounds like there's a lot of depth with this, and I'm looking forward to hearing your entire presentation. Thank you again for your time today. And,
all right.
Sorry. And just to remind everybody, you're going to be speaking to us on March 12th. The program runs from 6 to 8:30 at Seasons 52 in King of Prussia. We still have spaces available. You can register at astdphl.org, and I hope to see a lot of our members out there. Anything else to add before we wrap up today, John?
Well, I promise that it'll be an exciting program, and we're going to all walk out of there with some new knowledge. So please come if you can.
Great. Thanks again, and I look forward to seeing you soon.